Evening, everybody. Welcome to October executive meeting. Well done, people. You're here a few nights this week. Could we start with apologies for absence, please, Ms Willis?
Thank you, Chair. So Councillor Leanne McIntyre has sent her apologies.
Thank you. I think that's because we moved things around because of the by-election. Minutes of previous meeting. Are we okay with the minutes? Councillor Rowlands, please. I'm sorry, Councillor Rowlands. Could you just press your button and start again? Would you mind? Sorry, just do the whole thing again from the beginning after you press your button so that the public get to hear. Thank you. You may have a dead one.
Oh, sorry.
There we go.
Oh,
Bingo. There we go. Over to you.
Yeah. Page 5, reference to the sale of the car park in St Michael's. Could I be guided? How was it set out for tendering for purchase prior to it going through the appropriate committees of this council? How did it fit into the relationship with the appropriate committees of this council?
Right. So, if you press your button again. Thank you. So you're not querying the minutes specifically. You're querying the process. Is that correct? No. And again, please, Councillor Rowlands. Thank you.
I'm just wondering whether the date is right, the time is right.
Right. So I think my reading of the minutes is that, and I think we've had this discussion before in this chamber, that there's a difference between marketing something and deciding to sell it. So you could put your house up for sale, but until you actually exchange contracts, it's not sold. So I think what the minutes say is that the site was marketed in May 2025, which followed the direction of the officers and the review of the property working group and the portfolio holder. So that happened in May 2025. When the offers had been received, that was when it subsequently came back to this forum for a decision. So is that consistent with your understanding, Councillor Rowlands? Yeah, thank you. Right. Can I just check from the officer's perspective you were okay with what I just said in terms of the process we followed? Yeah, and the minutes, yeah, thank you. That's just to be sure. Right. So we're all agreed to sign the minutes? Okay. Thank you. Okay, declarations of interest. Anybody got any declarations on this one? Sorry, tonight. No, just to say that I have met previously with a representative of Lightwater Scouts. It was a couple of years ago, and it was related to their activities ongoing in that facility. Nothing more than that, not related to the detail of tonight's business as it relates to that venue. Okay. Public question time. Do we have any questions from the public? Okay. On to item 5 then. Questions from question by members. Councillor Rowlands, please.
Yes, could the intention to not close the gates on Town Park. Already I'm having reports about unsavoury activity taking place in the park, and this having a knock-on effect on people in adjoining roads. I just wondered when that was considered as a cost-saving activity, whether the social consequences of actually leaving the park open for that length of time were correctly evaluated.
Thank you. Councillor Rise, do you want to take that one?
I do, thank you. I had a conversation with officers this afternoon, and the council has not received any reports of any antisocial behaviour or otherwise in any of the parks that are now remaining open 24 hours a day. If there are reports, I can only ask that they get reported to the police and get reported to the council so those can be examined. As I set out when the transformation programme was brought to executive, I would be willing to review decisions as it proceeds. However, as I said, we haven't received any of those reports, so we aren't able to act on them. With regards to when the decision was made, I did acknowledge that there was a risk of potential antisocial behaviour, but it was not determined by officers or by myself that would have been at a significant risk to prevent this. I would also stress that there are open or don't have, and I thought my microphone went then for a moment, there are a number of parks where, for example, in Heatherside, for example, which is completely open, and we don't have the level of antisocial behaviour that people are predicting. So I would just say, if there are reports, they need to be reported to the council and to the police if there's antisocial behaviour. Only then can we review those reports and potentially take further action.
Thank you, Councillor Rise. Yeah, so hopefully, is it 111 the number, the non-emergency one for the police? So obviously that would be proportionate, but if it's other issues that can be dealt with the next day or whatever, then it's to the council, depending on the nature of it. Did you want to come back on that, Councillor Owens?
Thank you, Chair. The chairman of the St Michael's Residents Association produced quite a long memo already of the antisocial behaviour going into Southwell Park Road, it being used as a congregation point for antisocial behaviour. And so this is quite a serious problem. I'm sure I can relay the detailed issues that she's raised with me already, and the problems involved in leaving a park like that in the centre. It's a rather distinguished, it's our only park, and St Michael's, leaving that open at that time, and it attracts unsavoury elements to congregate and gives them an opportunity to obviously commit antisocial activity in that part of the ward.
Thank you. I think just because people are congregating doesn't mean they're indulging in antisocial behaviour. So I think we do need to get this on a fact basis. So as Councillor Rise says, we will act on reports that we receive, and we would encourage the police to act as well as
appropriate.
It is true to say, as Councillor Rise has highlighted in previous meetings, that the vast majority of our parks are already open 24/7, and we don't experience significant problems with that. Yes, there are periodic issues. We will wait and we will monitor, and Councillor Rise will take guidance from the officers and the local police as to whether we see a substantial change in those parks where things have changed. But I'm sure he's more than happy to receive the dossier, if you have one, to make available to him, and we'll give it due consideration as events unfold, time unfolds. Thank you.
If I could just add on to that, I'm always happy to meet with any groups or any residents to discuss this. I've already met with some organisations with regards to other parks. And as what I've said to others, is while I understand there are anxieties about the decision that's been taken, I do not believe that there is a significant threat to cause damage or to cause antisocial behaviour. And I would just stress what the leader has just said, is that if there are people in the parks, that does not mean antisocial behaviour is taking place.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Rise. Councillor Wheeler, we can't see you, but we're hoping we can hear you, so we'll...
My camera is on. I'm sorry you can't see me. It's showing me.
Technical issues at our end. Don't worry, Councillor Wheeler. Yeah, please.
Okay. It's just actually in support of Councillor Rowland. Both my mother and my sister live adjacent to the London Road Recreation Ground, and they too have experienced an increase in antisocial behaviour. Looking at it from a slightly different perspective, I wonder whether or not it is feasible or reasonable for the council to consider engaging with the St Michael's or one of the other resident associations that are in that area to see whether or not they would be prepared to lock and unlock the recreation ground, and whether or not from a legal point of view that's something that could be explored further. I think one of the differences with the London Road recreation ground is that it is enclosed really and not visible on 4 sides, with the 4th side obviously being through to the leisure centre. So it is slightly different. Gordon Avenue, there is visibility within the park. Southall Park Road is very secluded if you take the entrance through into what used to be the Rose Garden there. So that's why it's probably slightly different from Heatherside, and it's a much more densely housing abutted area. So it's just something for the portfolio holder. Is it something that could be considered if the Residents Association would be prepared to take on the task that they could be responsible for locking and unlocking the recreation ground? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wheeler. A lot of our parks in the borough are very different. For example, in my own ward, there's a park that's very secluded and it's also being open at the moment. So while I take the point that there are concerns that we have to address, that hasn't been deemed to be a significant risk factor. Again, if there are reports of antisocial behaviour, they need to be reported to the police and to the council, and that's only then can we take that forward. I can't take forward, someone has said, I require an official report and data, and that's how I can make my decisions. With regards to residents' organisations, I'm more than happy to meet with them and discuss them and to explore options. For the option of potentially a resident society taking over locking and unlocking a park, while I would say it's not impossible, there are a number of legal and insurance and rota schedules that would need to be addressed. So while I would be happy to meet with them, and I'm sure that can be arranged, the likelihood of it is unlikely, in my opinion, but I'm happy to have a conversation. But it would require a resident society to be guaranteeing that it's opened every day and locked every day, and to ensure that the council is satisfied with the access to the parks is being maintained along those lines.
Can I just apologise to the chamber? I can't lower my hand, so I don't know if anybody centrally. I can't even wave, can I? If I need to speak later on, but just to make you aware.
There are some people monitoring your behaviour and others, Councillor Wheeler. So if you need to wave, you wave. The majority of us can't see what's going on, but a couple of people can. So please, if you need to speak or you need to attract our attention, please do the necessary. Again, I think like most of the things we've discussed in this chamber, we try to be evidence-based and data-driven. So as Councillor Rise says, if there's issues arising, we need them reported through the right channel. We can then build up a picture and we can then make better decisions on the back of that. Please, Councillor Rise.
Just to add on, just with regards to Southall Park, I do apologise, I just had an update from an officer sent through to me. While I have not received it, officers have received a letter from regarding Southall Park Road, and we responded with a letter. We've responded to that letter. However, there has not been a response since, and no other reports have been received or reported, and there were no issues that were raised at the Joint Action Group, which was yesterday. So while I don't discount that there are residents that are concerned about this, I completely understand that there are residents concerned, but the decision has to be based on advice and the proper reporting, so we can actually make a decision that's based on the evidence, which is how we approach the decision in the first place. So while I may not be able to make a decision now, if we do see antisocial behaviour arise, we can make a further decision, but there is nothing at this point that is leading us to it.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Councillor Rise. Any other members' questions? No? Okay, we shall keep moving along then. So, Councillor Ashbury, I think you're up next on a SIL application, please.
Yeah, thank you, Leader. Following the decision of the Executive in March this year that parish councils and non-parish wards which had a zero balance in their SIL reserve, the Heatherside Ward Residents Association. Their proposal is to plant 16 cherry blossom trees at Heatherside Recreation Ground to improve the landscaping of the park. The ongoing maintenance and care of the trees will be undertaken by the Heatherside Ward Residents Association at no cost to the council, and all of the Heatherside Ward councillors have indicated support for this project.
Thank you, Councillor Ashby. Any questions from anybody? Councillor Rowlands, please.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a bit lost on this one because I know that from my ward there's a number of, well, possibly one or two requests for this fund gone in. I'm a bit surprised that this has come up as a separate. I thought you'd be dealing with them all in one go.
Councillor Ashby, do you want to?
Yeah, it's just a question to do with timing. This came in with what we call the local community infrastructure bids, which are open twice a year. So this came in before the latest funding round where we went out to call for projects. That call for projects only closed last Monday, the 13th of October. So those projects will be considered going forwards. This one came in the July window, which is our normal window for these bids. So there are two processes running in parallel there, and this one obviously predates the latest one.
Any other questions? No, I assume the birds of Heatherside are going to enjoy these cherries if it's anything like the cherry tree in my garden, because I never get to the cherries first. Are we agreed with the resolution as it stands? Agreed. Thank you. We move on to Lightwater Country Park, I think, and the resurfacing works. I think this one's with yourself, Councillor Rice.
Thank you, Leader. As we all know, the access road and other car parks within the Lightwater Country Park have reached a serious state of disrepair over the years. And there are images within Annex B of the report, which is kind of, if you haven't been there recently, you can see the current state of the road. I also know that not only from my own kind of experience of that road, but also residents within Lightwater, as well as the three ward councillors, have been highlighting this to me for a while, and I'm very pleased to be bringing forward this paper to recommend approve the allocation of community infrastructure levy funding to resurface the entrance road and parking bays at Lightwater Country Park, addressing significant deterioration, ensuring safe, accessible and high quality facility for residents and visitors. Just a bit of background. So the country park is a key community asset, one of our two premier country parks in the borough, and is a vital space for biodiversity, recreation and providing open green space. Within the country park, there is the Lightwater Leisure Centre, which is operated by Lifestyle Fitness, and that forms part of our wider recreation hub. So the proposal is to undertake a joint resurfacing project with Lifestyle Fitness to include both the council's and the leisure centre's parking and access areas, deliver the scheme under a single procurement exercise to achieve the economies of scale and minimise disruption. As part of the proposal, there's been an ongoing discussion with Lifestyle Fitness with regards to the responsibility for car parks within the country park. So as you can also see within Annex B, there are two areas of responsibility that have been set out. So the access road up towards the junction of the road towards where the new paddle courts are due to come in will be under the Borough Council's responsibility. And for that access road up towards the car parks will be transferred into the responsibility of Lifestyle Fitness. Surrey Heath Borough Council will remain as the landowner. However, the Lightwater Leisure Centre have identified that Their current car parking provision, which is the immediate car park out front of the leisure centre, is not serving the ever-growing numbers that are going to the Lightwater Leisure Centre, which pays tribute to their success as a centre. So, as you can see from the report, there is a proposal to transfer the existing car parks into their responsibility. I will just add that the car parking provision will remain open, so it's not going to all of a sudden be closed, and it will still remain free at the point of free to use. So residents going to the Lightwater Country Park will still be able to park as they have done. However, the responsibility will be under the leisure centre. There are a number of benefits. It will improve safety and accessibility for the park and leisure centre users, reduces the ongoing maintenance cost and liability risk, and demonstrates value for money through partnership working and shared resources. So I'm very pleased this has come forward and is delivering the second set of resurfacing works that we're doing within our country parks. The first was at Frimley Lodge. So I am asking that the executive approves the recommendation that approves the allocation of SIL funding as set out in the exempt Annex A. So if there are questions on the numbers, we would have to go into part 2. And adds this to the capital programme and delegates authority to the head of housing, community recreation in consultation with myself to deliver the resurfacing project, and that recommends to the full council that the capital programme be amended accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rise. Any questions for anybody? Okay. I've got a couple. Just to clarify, Councillor Rise, so there is well, actually two things, sorry, before I forget. There are a number of items this evening which have exempt parts to them, so if we can do our usual process of trying to speak in code or riddles that only we understand so that we can stay in the public forum, that would be great. But if we need to go into exempt, we'll go into exempt. There is a diagram in the it's in the non-exempt bit, I think, that shows who's doing what. Can I just clarify that the section in red, which the Lightwater Leisure is taking on board, they will take responsibility for that in its entirety into the future, or is this just a one-off exercise that they'll do the work and then move on? Yes,
they will be taking over the responsibility of the area that's in red, essentially. Will no longer be maintained by Surrey Heath Borough Council.
And two quick ones, which I think Ms. Sherlow, if nobody else is expecting, is there's a half moon area adjacent to the new zip wire and other facilities that were put in. Well done, recreation and leisure team. And there's also a piece of car parking adjacent to the Crazy Golf. Are those also getting maintained as part of this? Because it's not 100% clear from the diagram provided.
So the diagram sets out where there's going to be the complete resurfacing works. So that's the road. That's going to be essentially completely repaired road. The car parking bays that are remaining along that road, which are remaining under SHBC control, are going to be repaired with Type 1 recycled sub-base material. So that's not full resurfacing. It's essentially, there's going to be repair works and it will be kind of part of the ongoing maintenance. So it's not going to be the same as the access road.
I understand that, Councillor Rice. I don't have a problem with that at all. I think it's a great proposal, and I'll come back to some thank yous in a minute, but it's just those two specific areas are not coloured in the diagram that's provided. So that's the clarification I'm looking for, that they are in scope for that recycled type material. Thank you.
Yes, both are included, but the intention of the diagram was to signal where the full resurfacing was going to be taking place.
Fair enough.
I think that's correct, yes.
Wow.
So those car parks which are on the access road,
yeah, okay, fair enough.
Remaining.
As long as we're on the same page, which
yes,
those
they are.
Areas,
they're included. So they're included as part of the work. Is that so? Just to try to make myself completely clear. So where it's identified as green, that's full resurfacing work. That's the areas that are. So, for example, if you can see on the diagram, there's the green line and there's two other bits of green, and there's bits that aren't green. Those still remain within Surrey Heath Borough Council control. However, they are not being fully resurfaced. There will be repair works done.
Very good. Sorry to push that there are some gigantic potholes there. The other quick question was a procedural one. So we're not allowed to talk about the monies involved, but let's, for argument's sake, say there is a contingency. At what time do the officers expect that they will know that they don't need that contingency and be able to hand it back? Because we have discussed in this chamber that we're in a use it or lose it situation with respect to SIL, as in if we don't use it, we lose control of up to unitary level. Thank you.
I'm just going to ask Ms McCubbin to answer that question.
We're just waiting for the technology, everybody. Hang on.
Hi, good evening. We will, as the tender works progress and we have a finite understanding of the value, that is when we'll be able to confirm the exact cost for the work and whether or not we would need to eat into the contingency. I can't confirm exact dates for that at the moment, but we can get back to you as soon as we know.
Fair enough. But are you thinking spring next year, perhaps? Yeah, so we still have some time potentially to recycle that money. I guess that was my question. Thank you. So I'm sure Councillor Wheeler will be very happy because she accesses the facility, as she commented the other day. Oh, she wishes to comment now again, does she? Yeah, we've specifically brought this project forward for Councillor Wheeler. Please, Councillor Wheeler.
If only I thought for a moment that was true, I'd feel very compromised. But yes, I will declare that I am a regular user of lifestyle fitness at Lightwater Leisure Centre. My concern is just raised, and I'm sure it has absolutely been considered, but I do just want to raise the matter of safety by resurfacing. So much as my wheels will no doubt love the resurface, I have a horrible feeling that I may be inclined to drive slightly faster than I do currently, and I don't think I would be the only person that would feel that way when it was resurfaced. So it was really just looking for assurance that there will be really excellent traffic speed calming measurements with the resurfacing work that goes on, given the very mixed nature of the approach road to lifestyle fitness.
Thank you. I am just going to pass over to Ms Sherlow because she'll be able to answer that question. However, I would just add, I do hope that people are sensible drivers and that they would not speed or go fast along a very clearly access road. So I would hope there would be sensible driving, but I will ask Ms Sherlow just to come in and be able to provide the technical responses.
Good evening, Councillor Wheeler. We met the providers on site, the construction company on site. There will be measures put in place, so there still will be ramps that will be speed humps that will be put along the access road. So there definitely will be calming measures to stop, obviously, speeding cars going up that road.
Thank you, Michelle. And could I just ask that, because this is an opportunity to improve as well, and I think you know that I've tried to encourage that with respect to another development on the location that it's joined up. Could I just ask that it's looked again in terms of where those potential speed bumps are, so it's risk-based? Because I noticed on my travels today, for example, that we're not particularly good at slowing the traffic down as it approaches the mini golf from above, rather than into the park, as an example. Well, that's typically where pedestrians and car and other folk would be. So an opportunity to improve. But can I just say that this is a really great project, and thank all the officers involved. I think it's great, the partnership as well that we have with the other stakeholders on the facility. It is one of our premium parks. I think it's brilliant that we can now bring forward this project for everybody's benefit, and everybody can safely enjoy the park without having to think about their axles. Please, Councillor Rice.
I just want to add one final thing which I missed on my introduction. It's just under, my apologies, it's just with regards to community engagement. My apologies, but I'm just going to get to the page. Under, on page 20, we're under point 9.4, it's just setting out community engagement. So it's just to ensure that in advance of the works being delivered, there would be updates, including digital updates, public notices, and collaboration with Lifestyle Fitness, just to ensure that all users and members of Lifestyle Fitness are aware. So just to ensure that residents, and as well as residents in the local area, are fully aware of what's happening and when. Thank you.
Yes, we need to learn from the Surrey County Council recent experience on the M3A322 junction in terms of informing people. Okay, are we all happy with the recommendation as it stands? Agreed, thank you. We move on to the grounds maintenance contract, which is Councillor Rice again, please.
Thank you, Leader. So this paper is to recommend to the Executive to approve an extension of the grounds maintenance contract for a maximum of 35 years. The existing grounds maintenance contract is due to end in October 2027, and it's felt that with local government reorganisation and a new authority to be expected to be in place from April 2027, it would be prudent to extend the existing contract to provide continuity of service rather than going to tender at this stage. In order to provide the new authority the time to consider future provision of grounds maintenance services. We approved an extension a couple of years ago, and at that point some work was done to do an exercise to understand kind of the market of grounds maintenance services. And at that time, and we understand it still does remain, that this is the most cost-effective way to retain service of continuity of ground services, grounds maintenance contract, as well as it's being one of the cheapest operators, which is Glendale. I'm not going to go through everything in the report. However, as you can see from the recommendation, that it's the maximum of up to 35 months. And during that process, there would have to be a process to begin the re-tendering as well. So that would provide, we would have to most likely be starting the work while we're still at Surrey Heath, but it probably would be taken over by the new authority. And there's obviously in point 2, it's the authority to be delegated to the head of housing, community and recreation in consultation with myself as the portfolio holder. And then that the Executive is advised to recommend this to full council, that the sum shown in point 4 of the except annex is budgeted for the ongoing provision of grounds maintenance from the 1st of November 2027 to the 30th of September 2030. And as you can see in point 2, there is, with a tolerance of 0.5% with regards to the contractual arrangements, and to use their best endeavours to agree a suitable break clause for the extension period. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rice. Just to clarify, I think you meant 5% tolerance rather than 0.5%.
Yes, sorry. If it was
Otherwise, you're not giving them a huge amount.
No, if it was a 0.5%, that would be a great deal for us. No, my apologies. It's
just
5%. I read the.
Just for the record, yeah. That was
I do just want to add. Sorry, I meant to add as well. It's just that there has been, in my opinion, and I hope with the opinion of all councillors, a significant improvement in the services from Glendale over the last couple of years, especially considering there was a summer a couple of years ago when the service kind of fell apart. Our contract manager in Surrey Heath is incredibly effective, and he is on the call today to be able to answer any questions, as well as the service manager from Glendale, who has put in new processes and ensure that the team is properly empowered and to make those decisions and deliver a good service. So I'm very pleased to recommend this. Thank you.
Any questions from members? No. Okay. We've discussed in this chamber before, and I won't milk it too much, but we've discussed in this chamber before that there is a balancing act here between making sure there is continuity of service provision and reducing the degrees of freedom of any subsequent councils that follow us. So I understand the recommendation from the officers around and the calculation, and it's all absolutely fine in terms of the up to 35 months extension, but that does mean it takes them way beyond 3 years after the unitary potentially goes live, although rumour mill is rife at the moment that it may not be going ahead, but who knows. I would just strongly counsel the officers that we make sure we have a minimum of a year's break clause as part of the deal, potentially longer, but that's all subject to negotiation. Yeah. to ensure that balance between service provision and allowing some degrees of freedom. Are we happy with the recommendation as it stands? Agreed. We move on to item 9, sale of land and buildings to the Avenue Lightwater. One could argue it's more a transfer, but that's a discussion point. Over to you.
Thank you, Chair. This is a very simple paper, really. Basically, we're asking to delegate authority to the property team to negotiate the sale of the freehold of the land, which is currently occupied by Lightwater Scout Association. In our opinion, they are the natural owners of this property anyway, and we would like to protect that for them for years to come by transferring the lease basically to them. There are figures in the annexes which obviously cannot be discussed in the open meeting today, so if anyone has any questions regarding those, we will have to go into part 2, but happy to take any questions.
Any questions? No. I just have, I have to be careful here with the exempt bit. I just have one question, which is the officers are happy to confirm that the recommendation is achieving best value for the council. That's always the thing we've discussed previously with asset transfers. So could I just ask the relevant officers just to confirm they're happy that in this context, this type of building, the recommendation we're seeing there is in line with best value?
Yes, that's certainly my understanding, yeah. Yes, that's what I would advise, yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Just wanted that on the record. Okay. So are we happy with the recommendation as it stands? Agreed. Thank you. And let's hope for, I don't know, generations more of scouting activities based there into the future. Okay. We move on to item 10. Which is a potential one that we need to go into exempt for. We'll have to muddle our way through. Who's got this one? Oh, Councillor McIntyre's not here. It might be me then. I mean, it is, I think as people are aware, it's a fairly standard report that we receive periodically. I don't know, Mrs. Radford, if you wanted to do any overlay against this or just take questions if they arise, which, yeah, just take questions, that's fine. So it is a standard report. I think all members would be familiar with it. So again, being careful of the exempt piece, are there questions concerning the report? Please, Councillor Glaron.
Yeah, I've got 2 questions. The first one is about business rates. Okay, we collect them, we give them to the government. Is that right? So is it actually the government that's losing this money or us?
There is a split of that, and I can't remember the percentages right now, but I do know we only keep 2.5% here. However, somebody I know over there might be able to give us the breakdown. Mrs. Radford, please.
Yeah, okay. Oh, hang on. This one came on. Sorry, that's very confusing. Yeah, so the business rates are all accounted for through the collection fund, as we call it. So it's a separate ring-fenced fund. That's split between the government, Surrey County Council and ourselves. So our element of that is 10%, I think, off the top of my head. So there is an impact. So any deficit has to be funded through the general fund. So a small percentage does hit ours, but it is all spread, and this is obviously the gross figures.
Right, thank you. My other question regards, on page 52, okay, there's a trading limited. And I just wondered, it's company voluntary arrangement, what that was, especially as this particular company still has a branch in a neighbouring town. So I just wondered why they weren't able to pay us.
Just to help us all, Councillor, are you able to quote a reference number? Because I know we can't talk names, but there is reference numbers there we could probably use without tripping ourselves up.
90262564, and then 2 lines below that, same company.
Yeah, noted. Thank you. That's helpful. Yeah. So the question, I think the question was, if they're still trading, why are we accepting this? I think that was the essence of the question. Just waiting for the technology to catch up.
Oh, it's on now. Yep.
Do you want to take that, Chair? Martin Breeden, for anyone watching. Yeah. Company voluntary arrangement is an insolvency process that's court approved in that particular situation, and it will enable an occupier to disclaim the lease of those premises, and then that debt will go against a claim against the insolvent company. But it enables the remaining company to be insulated from those debts in order to keep it trading and able to function.
So in colloquial terms, would it be fair to say that it's ring fencing the bad bit and allowing the good bit to continue?
That's right.
Want to follow up, please?
Just as a matter of interest, should this particular company suddenly make lots of profit, will they pay us back or not?
No, that's not my understanding, no.
But to get to this stage, it would have gone through a legal process, this voluntary arrangement thing as an example. Is that correct?
That's correct. With all these insolvency situations, a claim gets made if there are any proceeds from a dividend is ever paid. So that does get tracked.
Okay, any other questions from anybody? Please, Councillor Owens. Sorry, Councillor Owens, magic button again.
Oh, perfect. Go on. In previous years, we've been reported as having a very good rate of collection of our bad debts. Does this year measure that previous standard? I remember it being reported on the last couple of years at least.
Is that reference to business rates collection?
I think it was both, really, council tax as well.
Council tax and business rates. No, we are still very high in the collection. We were the highest or joint highest in the country last year, and we're still very high. We're above what we expect, so we're still in the 99%. But obviously, the value here, because of the value that we're collecting, is obviously much higher than the percentage.
Okay. So I've just got one, and I'll speak in code. Just give me 1 second. Page 57 of the report, debtor number 23034. I'd just like to confirm that the council is unable in any way to follow up on that debt because it's hit the legal buffers at the 6-year threshold. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct, yeah.
Okay, thank you. I heard recently that was 20 years in Scotland, so that's significantly longer, but probably unmanageable at the same time. Okay, are we happy? Are there any other questions? Anything on the TV screens? No. Okay. Well, if there's no other questions, are we happy, Executive, to proceed with the recommendation as agreed? Agreed. Thank you. Okay, so I think we are done with tonight's business, unless I've missed an item and nobody's hit me in the ribs. Yeah, we're good. Thank you very much, everybody, for your attendance, and see you all tomorrow, almost the same time,